Hey guys, Christina Ricci. If you want more pars and you're trying to move your pressure from back to front and clear those hips, well, let's make sure you're not hurting your lower back while you're doing that. This is a biggie, and I speak from experience. All right, when I was learning the game, I did this, and my lower back is toast. All right, so I'm going to explain why you don't want to do this. You want to avoid this like the plague. I'm going to save your back today, and you're going to get more pars. You ready? Let's get to it. All right, so if you struggle with the transition, you struggle with initiating with your lower body properly, or you feel like you're initiating with your lower body properly, you're focused on maybe clearing your hips, and you're really trying to do it fast because you were told to do it before your hands get to the top, and you have lower back pain. All right, so if you are sore in this area, and you are trying to spin your hips or clear your hips, let me offer another suggestion. The reason why I don't like using hips in my tips. Hey, that rhymes.
Way to go!
No hips in my tips. Instead, we're going to use the butt. Now, why do I like using the butt? Because when you use the butt, it helps you to engage your legs. When you engage your legs, that makes a super powerful downswing. All right, if you spin your hips, all that's going to do is get your arm structure, which we're trying to maintain, our trail hand, wrist hinge, and elbow bend. We're trying to keep that in front of our torso, be in sync. All right, if you get to the top here and spin your hips aggressively, all right, you're going to look like this. Elbows caught behind. All right, and just doing this is hurting my back. All right, it's really bad for your lower back, your lower lumbar, L5, 4, 3. Supposed to be stable. Now, if you're trying to move that at warp speed, you're doing severe disc damage. And I speak from experience. When I was learning the game, I was a hip spinner in a big way, and I was not kind to my body. That's all about the butt. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, well, I don't have a butt.
Oh my.
Well, that's okay, because you know what? You kind of do. It may not be like a bubble butt, but you got a butt of some kind, all right? And you can put a little focus on it. All right, so just the best way to do it is put a club on your hips. I do this with my campers, just to get you the feeling. Stand up tall. Hip hinge, almost like you're a door hinge. Now just crack the knees. There, good. So you feel like you have more forward bend? All right, so here, do that again. I want to get down the line with the forward bend. So, good. Your feet are closed. I recommend if you don't have a butt, you are going to be a little taller. You're going to probably have a little bit more arm swing. All right, now it's perfectly fine. You hit a great ball like that, and so many players do. All right, I'm a player that likes to get pretty deep here, you know, and have a lot of body rotation. I mean, that's just me personally, but I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just asking you to use your butt a little bit. All right, so put the club on your hips, get into your awesome hip hinge. All right, so you just want to make sure we hip hinge. And then just crack the knees. All right, make sure your tailbone is soft, not arched. So engage your core. You have to engage your core. All right, you just don't want to hip hinge and let your belly hang out, because then you're putting a lot of pressure on your lower back. And if you try to use your butt with an arched back, that's again putting a lot of pressure on your discs. All right, so you got to make sure you engage your core. Hip hinge, engage your core, so suck it up and in. All right, and then push your hips back like that. So you should feel a little engagement here on the top of your butt if you do it right. All right, if you do it right, you should have an angle with your leg. All right, so I have a nice angle with my leg. All right, and that puts me in an awesome position to keep my trail arm in front as I rotate. So I'm going to rotate as aggressively as I want. All right, because I'm in a good position here. I'm engaged with the ground, my leg's in a good position, and I can just rotate at warp speed with no fear of coming over the top. All right, players come out over the top because they're not getting into a good hip hinge. Maybe they're knee diving, so they can't use their butt, and then they get all armsy and then come over the top. All right, so if you don't have a butt, you're probably not hip hinging, so just focus more on a hip hinge. All right, and at least you'll be able to use your legs. All right, you got muscles in your legs. You may not have a big, butt here, but you got leg muscles. So if you hip hinge, engage your core, you'll be able to use your legs. It's all about the legs. I like the butt because it engages the legs. But if you're like, I'm not a butt person, just focus on a good hip hinge. All right, and then just crack the knees. engage the core, and you should be good to go. All right, it's a really important point. Come to camp, learn new skills, meet new pals, and yep, get more pies.